Hello there, in this video today I'm going to show you how you can hang skateboard decks on a wall. Now there's various different ways of doing it. If you're just hanging the one up here, you might just get away with putting in a picture hook and a bit of string or a bit of wire around it. But in this instance here, it's a lot harder because these are the Santa Cruz Stranger Things board and there's 4 in total. I'm going to show you hanging this one now in a minute. And as you can see, it's a continuation. So if you have a look here, they all continue on from each other. So they need to be kind of in line with each other and the right height and stuff. What makes it harder is the fact that these boards are slightly different sizes, so you need to decide, are you going to go from the top, the bottom, or whether you're going to go on the actual fitting on the wall, and that's what I did here. You could try to do this with string, but it's going to be very hard because a little bit of sag and they're going to be completely out. Also, this is above my son's bed, so I don't want one of these falling on him in his sleep. So in this episode, we're going to be putting up the season 4 one here. Now, I went onto Amazon, and these things are really good here. You get 2 of them for £10. So to hang these 4 here costs a little under £20, so it's well worth it. So let me get my camera on a tripod and let me actually show you fitting one of these. So first thing we have to do is we have to get these long bolts, and we're going to be putting them through the back here and here. And then we need to get these nuts and we need to do them up. And then you can use an Allen key or a hex key on this side, or I'm just going to use my finger because it's only going into plastic. It doesn't need to be overly tight against the base here. And as you can now guess, this is going to attach to the wall, and these 2 bits here go through the holes for your trucks. So they're going to be going through here. This is attached to the wall, so it's not going to go anywhere, and then you bolt it on here so it can't go anywhere, and it's nice and secure. Now, depending on how big the nose and the tail is on your board, will depend on whether you might want to use these 2. So on one of the boards up there, what I did is I managed to get these on like so, and then I put the board on, and then I put the little end cap on here. You can see that's nice and safe. You're not going to catch yourself on that. It's nicely finished, and it kind of sandwiched in between the board. But on other ones, this only goes in so far before you can't make it go in anymore, and then there was still play on the board. Not that it really matters, it hangs fine, it just feels a bit loose when it was on the wall. So on those ones, what I did was I put the board on first, then I put this nut on, and then I put this one on to finish it. So this is the nut that's actually fixing it against the board, and this is just to finish it. But you get the idea. So your board's either going to be in between here if it allows, or this side here if it allows. Right, so now let's change camera angle, and I'm going to show you what you do on the wall. So the hardest part in all this is actually trying to get them lined up, because remember, you're dealing with 4 boards here. We wanted all 4 to be roughly in the middle of the wall. So I got the midpoint of the rune and just made a mark with a pencil, and then I held the board up and down until my son was happy with the height of it. And then I measured from where the fixing was going to be, which is in the middle of this bit here, to the ceiling, or in this case the coving, and that was going to be my point there. When I had that, I knew then that I knew where the middle was, and I knew the height of it. So then I got a long level, but obviously you can just take it off the ceiling if you haven't got a long level, and then I marked little marks along the wall where it was level here. So I'm in this instance taking it from the fixings on the wall. So if you removed all the skateboards, the fixings would all be perfectly level. If you want it to be level on top, there's going to be a lot more work, because you're going to have to measure every single board from this point here to the ceiling, and then also take it from here to the ceiling. So it's going to get quite complicated. Anyway, when I had my middle point here, we then decided how far away we wanted the boards to be from each other. If the gap here was too tight, in my opinion, it didn't look right. It didn't look like skateboards. When it was too big, then the continuation of the pictures didn't flow very well. So we kind of opted for around about 1.5 inches in between each of them. So what I did is I got my midpoint here, and then I went 3/4 of an inch that side and 3/4 of an inch that side. That then was going to be the edge of the board. Then all I had to do was measure from the middle of the board to the edge here. That would then give me where I need to drill for this one, and do the same on this one, drill this one here. Then when you see I've got that fix in there, all I have to do is take the same measurement that I took from here to here, from here to here, mark the wall, go 1.5 inches along from there, and then again use the same measurement from here to here as here to here, because these decks are all quite similar in width. Obviously if you're dealing with thinner and thicker decks, it's going to get a lot harder. So there we go. That was the marking bit. That was the hard bit done. Now, drilling the wall, obviously it depends what you're drilling into. This here is going to be a breeze block wall. This is an outside wall, so I've got 2 layers, breeze block, then brick. So this is actually pretty soft, but it's still more than strong enough to get screws into. If you're going into a plasterboard wall, you're going to have to use plasterboard fixings, unless you're lucky enough to hit the stud every single time, which you're not going to be. So this here is a 6mm masonry bit, and because I'm using 6mm, I'm using brown wall plugs here, or rule plugs, and this is the screw that we're going to be putting into the wall. So if you kind of measure up the screw that you get with here, you can see that that's going to be a nice fit. Obviously you don't want it too big and you don't want it too small. So what you need to do is put your drill on hammer, and it's really important that you check for things behind the wall. So if you've got a plug socket, don't go above, below, left or right of that plug socket. If it's done properly, the cables will be going up or down or left and right. So if you're diagonal to it, it should be fine. Also the same with a light switch. Don't be going up or down, left or right off that light switch. So don't be drilling in any of those zones. Also, annoyingly, there can be plastic pipes and stuff hidden in the wall for water. Also, you can have gas as well. So if you don't know the layout of your house, then make sure that you use like a stud detector to see if there's any hidden services anywhere like that. Don't just drill and hope for the best, because if you hit a water pipe or gas pipe, you're in for a whole heap of trouble. And obviously it can be very dangerous as well if it's gas. You have to drill your hole a little bit longer than the wall plug, and then you pop the wall plug in the wall, use a little hammer to tap it down nice and flat. That's the stage we're at now. I don't need to show you how to drill. So we now need to screw it in using a crosshead screwdriver here. If you have a look at your little kit that you get from Amazon, this particular one has a nice little picture of a skateboard just down here. So I'm going to be putting it that way where the skateboard's at the bottom. Now, as you get to the ends, just start slowing down because you don't want to crack the plastic. And make sure it's nice and level. You can use a spirit level if you want. In this instance here, I'm just using my eyes. And that's on nice and tight, that's not going to go anywhere. Now I forgot to mention, when you're drilling, obviously you don't want to make a mess. It's really useful to get somebody else, or if you're used to drilling one-handed, put a vacuum cleaner underneath it there as you do the drilling, and that will basically collect near enough all of the dust, just to keep things nice and tidy. So once we're happy that that's on the wall, nice and secure, we're then going to line up the holes without trying to scratch up the board, and put them in here like so. Now, this is what I was talking about earlier. If I was to put the end cap on there now, there would be a bit of play. And what it means is the board will move around a little bit. I don't want that. I want it to be perfectly against the wall, because in this instance, it's looking more like a piece of art. So I've got that on there now. And now I'm just going to screw on the little nuts. And personally, I'm just doing them up by hand, because it doesn't need to be too tight against the wall. It's just to stop the boards from moving. And now we're just going to put the end caps on. There we go. And now, because we've put the nuts in here and then the end caps, and it's pushed the board right into the wall, you can see now we've got the point of contact here and also here. And what it means is that, look, can you see now? Obviously I can yank it across if I want to, but the boards are not going to be wobbling around the place. They're on there nice and strong. Yeah? But if you're worried about damaging your wall here or damaging the tip of the board, then you can have them looser where they just hang. But in my instance, I want them all dead level. I don't want to have to keep straightening them every single day. So there we have it. If you have a look now, you can see that there's nice spacing in between them all, and height-wise to each other, I think they look okay. They're not perfect, because I went along the line of the fixing, because for me that was just the easiest to do it that way. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. I honestly think that they're a really good way of doing it. Nice and quick, and now completely safe. There's no way these are going to fall off the wall now. So yeah, very happy with them. So that is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a massive thumbs up. Thanks a lot for watching.